great? Is that your aspiration? To be great at something? To be considered by others to be great, or to find it within yourself to feel like you've really achieved a level of greatness? A lot of people want that. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because they're uncomfortable. They think that if they reveal this high level of aspiration that they have, that people will criticize them and think that they're, too big for their pants, that it's about ego, right? That it's too big an aspiration, that we shouldn't have a dream of being great. We should just become great, right? And that others should deem us great. But here's the thing. First of all, everyone has a different definition of greatness. Really, it's a different vision of it, a different definition of it. Greatness could be, maybe you want to define it in different terms, like world class, or expert, or number one, or bestseller, So you have to ask yourself whether you're comfortable with the word great or greatness, or whether there's a different word that really means that to you and that you aspire to. The other thing is that greatness doesn't have to be famous, right? It doesn't have to be an ego thing of I want to be famous. It can be I want to have my work make a difference in the world and have a ripple effect long after I'm gone. It can be I want to maintain great relationships. It could be I want to be of service. It could be I want to be a great mom. Like I want to be the best mom I could be. You have to define greatness for yourself, because I don't know what greatness means to you. I don't. So you have to decide, what does greatness mean to you, and what terms would you use to define it? I get asked about this idea of aspiring to greatness in terms of, is it something that we decide for ourselves, or is it supposed to be something else other people decide that we're great? And I think that it's both. I think you could be, a Leonardo da Vinci, and people see your work and they think you're great. You could be a J.K. Rowling. Some people think your work is great, and they judge it that way, right? They make that judgment. But I think inside there is this drive for greatness, and then we have to decide. My son has been dancing since he was 3 years old. He has put in the hours, and I am sure that in some people's eyes, they see him as great. And yet he wouldn't say he sees himself as great. And I've probably put in way more than 10,000 hours writing, since I've been writing since I was probably in middle school, but I don't see myself as great. So, we each have our own goals and our own standards for what greatness means. So, but somewhere inside, we have to decide we're great. On the other hand, the more we strive for greatness, the less likely it is that internally we're going to feel we have achieved that. Now, if you go to the Olympics and you get as many gold medals as Michael Phelps, I would bet somewhere inside Michael Phelps feels like he has achieved greatness. But maybe not. I don't know. So how do we achieve greatness? So there's some different things we could do, and lots of different things. I'm just going to talk about two different things. And one is this 10,000 hour rule that Malcolm Gladwell wrote about in his book Outliers. And I think that it really is true that to be great at something, you have to spend a lot of hours at it. Parents become great parents because they have to spend a lot of hours at it, right? But it's the practice, the rehearsal, the constant practice. And in his book, There Is No Plan B for Your A Game, Bo Eason talks about pockets of greatness, different places in the world where you would not expect people to show up being great, like to become the best athletes, or soccer players, or whatever. That there are gymnasts. He's mostly talking about sports, I think. But there are places where they do produce more than one great athlete. And the reason for that is because the people in these little pockets where there might not be money, there might not be support, coaching, whatever, they still become great. And the reason is because they love the practice. They love the rehearsal almost more than the performing. And so they spend a lot of time practicing and rehearsing. They put in the hours, and they do it just to be better at it. They don't do it for the performance or the game. They do it just to be better at it. So something to think about, right, is, are you putting in the hours, and are you doing it because you have a strong desire to be good at what you do? The other thing is that Bo points out that our greatest leaders have become great because of the environment in which they found themselves in terms of adversity or crisis. So on the one hand, we have an environment where there's not much to support greatness, and yet these people become great anyway because they love to rehearse. Like, they love to practice. They just love getting better and better at what they do. And then we have situations where there is adversity or crisis, and we have to rise to it, right? We have to rise to a challenge, which in high performance, we talk a lot about challenges because we do have to rise to a challenge. And I think when that happens, we're more likely to achieve greatness because we're forced to, we're pushed to. It becomes a requirement, a necessity. And we talk about that a lot in high performance as well, that we need to increase our level of necessity. It's a habit of the highest performers in the world, is that they increase their level of necessity. And so you have to look at your life and say, you know, if I want to be great at something, why is that necessary for me? Like, would it just be fun or nice, or is it necessary? Is it necessary for me to fulfill my potential, to become world class at something, just because I have an internal need? But maybe it has more to do, for instance, with being a good parent. There's a need. Your kids need that. I talk to writers all the time about, that they need to strive to do their work in the world and to do it well because their readers need their books. So what about you? How are you going to increase your level of necessity so that you rise to that challenge? How can you create challenges for yourself? That's why I do the Write Nonfiction in November challenge every year for nonfiction writers, so that they push themselves to start and finish something in a very short amount of time. And once they know they can do that, they can do it again and again and again, and they keep raising the bar. So, do you want to be great? And what are you willing to do to be great? Because greatness doesn't just fall upon us. The people we look at and say they're great, they didn't just become that way because they were naturally talented. They worked hard at it. So what is your aspiration for greatness? And what are you willing to do to become great? So think about that this week and try to come up with some challenges for yourself. Somehow raise the bar so that you begin to increase your ability to be great at whatever it is you do, whatever it is you want to be great at, okay? I'm Nina Amir. I'm the Inspiration to Creation coach. I work with spiritual people and writers and dancers, artists, artistic people who want to create things, create art, create their best life, create their dreams. I work with them as a high performance coach to help them achieve more inspired results. And I do that by helping them get from where they are now to where they want to go without anything getting in the way. Typically what gets in the way is us. It's you. You're in your own way. And I want to get you out of the way, and I do that with high performance coaching. But I also bring in some of the spiritual aspects and talk a lot about passion and purpose, and how when you combine passion and purpose, you get inspired to action, and that's when you get inspired results. So if that's of interest to you, then go ahead and click on the little button that could be over here. I never know. Got to figure that out one of these days. Click on the little button, the link to get on my calendar for a high performance coaching strategy session. We'll spend some time together. You have to fill out the application. That's what the link takes you to, is the application. And once you submit the application, you can get on my calendar. And we'll spend 90 minutes or so together talking about high performance and how to get you from where you are to where you want to go, okay? So I promise you'll walk away with some great tips and strategies and tools you can use immediately, and you'll have some insights into how to be great, how to go to the next level for you, so that you can become the person you know you can be. So that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please share the video with someone you think it would help. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read the blog post that's associated with this video. And until next time, go out there and achieve more inspired results.